Tubeship Shinobi here with a review of the Imaginext Power Rangers Zords Wave 1. I have no idea what to actually call these. But our first assortment of Zords, priced at $14.99 at Toys R Us, includes the Mastodon, Triceratops, and Sabertooth Tiger. No pterodactyl in sight. Even with what we know about Wave 2, there's no pterodactyl in sight, so it's very, very unfortunate. But I'll get to that towards the end of the review. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Mastodon, then the Triceratops, then the Sabertooth Tiger, because order in the court. So when the Imaginext were first announced, I was like, okay, whatever. We saw a big Megazord. I was like, hey, that's kind of neat. But then we saw these little Zords, and I was like, you know, that's really cool. And they are, in at least a certain way. I know a lot of collectors probably won't like these or won't even care about these, but they're a certain level of fun that I really do enjoy. They are quite blocky. There really isn't any articulation or anything in these toys. Each one has a sort of action feature. When you put the Ranger onto this little pad here, I forgot exactly what they call them, Imaginext pads or whatever, action pad, I don't know. But when you stick a Ranger in there, and it's really easy, it just flips up, and there's little holes on the bottom of the Ranger's feet. You go ahead and slide their feet in, kind of secure them down to the holes, and plug this down, and it'll be nice and secure in there, at least semi-secure. I mean, you can't lift it up from the Ranger or anything, but put your finger either on the Ranger and twist him, or right down here, and each one will have an action feature. Exciting, I know. And that is really it. Now, there are two missile launchers on the top of the Mastodon. Just go ahead and hit either of the buttons, and boom, it fires missiles. Exciting. But regardless of the actual playability of the toy, they look really cool on a shelf. Scale's a little bit out of the window. You're not going to sit this next to other actual Bandai America scale Zords and get some realism here. But given the fact that they made everyone except the pterodactyl, which is still mind-boggling to me, but boys toy line or whatever, it makes for a cool little lineup for sure. And even the Bandai America pterodactyl will probably fit in pretty decent with these, I suppose. But that is really about it. The Rangers that come with the Zords are the same exact Rangers that come in the packs. As you can see here, there's absolutely no difference whatsoever between the two Rangers. So we're not going to really take a look at the other ones. But they do not come with their weapons. As I said in the actual Ranger figure review, they do not come with their weapons. So if you want the weapons, you're still going to have to get the figure packs. But if you're really only interested in getting the figures themselves and don't care about weapons, you can get most of the Rangers just by picking up the Zords. But like I said, it looks nice. There's detail where there needs to be detail. You got the M right here, the lines. The head looks pretty decent. There could be some like black or something in here, but the Mastodon's head was always kind of questionable. And yeah, there's wheels down at the bottom, so he rolls. You don't have to worry about kind of clonking him around or whatever like that. So it's a nice little representation of the Mastodon. Like I said, the fun factor really isn't there, but when you consider that the Imaginext toys are for kids playing, they don't really need a whole lot of like movement or transforming. You just kind of roll it around. It's like, oh, the Mastodon's going to attack you. Where's my putty? There's a putty. Oh, the Mastodon's going to get you. Oh, we missed. And stuff like that. I mean, it's a fun toy for kids for sure. And it's a nice little representation of the Mastodon Dino Zord to just kind of have on your shelf. And here is the Triceratops, my favorite of the three. I don't know why. It is a little tank sort of thing, so it rolls quite well. This one didn't really need movement. The Mastodon could have had the foot movement, but this one doesn't need it due to the cool tank treads. So it rolls quite well. You have the fully movable tail, which is actually accurate to the show. It had the tail back there, and then the tail could flip up for cannons. So I dig that a lot. I love the fact that they implemented the cannons on the actual tail of the Zord instead of like on the top or somewhere. Oop, I just fired a missile. Where it wasn't supposed to be. So that's a little bit of a bother. But you don't have that problem with the Triceratops. whatsoever, so that is cool. His action feature is a little bit harder to get into, so we're just going to use Billy. But his action feature, if I can figure out which way to move it, is a kind of battering ram of the head, which is apparently not working whatsoever. Oh yeah, I forgot, he just pushes down, he doesn't tilt. So you just kind of make Billy do some questionable things, and you get some battering ram Triceratops action. Let me go grab that missile. And one good thing about these toys is the fact that they actually come with double the missiles. So the Mastodon and Triceratops will come with 4 missiles. The Sabertooth Tiger will come with 2. The Tyrannosaurus comes with 4. So you get double the missiles in case something like that happens and you lose one. I didn't lose it. I'm just too lazy to go pick it up. But we're back to 2 missiles. So really cool. And one thing that I really forgot to show with the Mastodon, and I will bring it back into frame for this. But come on, Billy. Is right here in the cockpit area. In the show, they had that little system on their cockpits that had the Ranger helmet, like the dinosaur, and then they came together to form the Dino Zord, and that is represented right here on the dashboard of the cockpit. That's just really cool. That is a nice little detail that, for a preschool children's toy, did not need to be included, but I love that they did. That is fantastic on their part. This is like broke or something. I don't know what I just did with this, but get in there, Billy. I'll fix that later. But I really do like the Triceratops a lot, and just because I promised, here is the Mastodon's cockpit right in there. And I will take good pictures of those and put them in the photo gallery for those that want to see. But it's just a really cool attention to detail that they definitely didn't have to do. And finally we have the Sabertooth Tiger, which is unfortunately my least favorite of the bunch. I don't know why. It's just not as thrilling to me. The front legs do move, so you can get some like squatting positions. But the back legs do not move at all. You got a little tiny bit of movement because they're separate pieces in there. But they are locked in place. I wouldn't break them or anything like that. But it's not a bad representation of the Sabertooth Tiger at all. You got nice details through here, which is more accurate to the show than the original 93 toy was. And the tail does move. Doesn't really do anything worthwhile, but the tail does move. And again, you do have a laser cannon right up there that does fire the missile. Like I said before, you do get 2 missiles in here in case you lose that one. And the action feature of the Sabertooth Tiger is a moving mouth, which is not nearly as thrilling as the battering ram or the charging tusks of death of the Mastodon. So this one just kind of talks. It's like, hey bro, I'm the Sabertooth Tiger. What's up? I'm not really a good toy, but I look cool. So if that counts for anything, buy me. So that's my recommendation of the Sabertooth Tiger. And just like the others, here is the dashboard cockpit dashboard. That sounds more right on there. And again, just a really cool additional piece of detail that they didn't need to do. So despite the fact that these are like preschool toys, they put in quite a bit of detail, and I appreciate that for sure. Just as a real quick addendum to this, I mentioned in the black that all the figures are identical to the ones that were in the figure pack, and at least for black, I retain that fact. I don't see any major difference in the Black Ranger. In the Yellow Ranger, it's not as noticeable, but there is a slight color shift. This one is a tad bit brighter, and under certain light conditions, it probably won't come across on camera, but you can see kind of like these little glittery specks in the Zord given Yellow Ranger. I'm not too sure what that is. However, if you look at the Blue Ranger, the color shift might be a little bit more noticeable on the Blue Ranger, but if you look at him, and I'll get as close as I can, it's my camera's a bit of a pain. You might be able to see those little glittery speckles, particularly here in the back. If I shine the light on it, it's probably as good as I'm going to get. There's kind of these little speckles in there that aren't present on the other one, which is just a flat blue. So I don't know if these are meant. There's nothing on the package that stated that the figure was metallic or like glittery or exclusive of any kind. So that I don't know whether that's an actual fact or whether it was just produced a little bit differently. But like I said, I can't notice any differences in the black, and in the yellow it's really hard to tell, but it's more prominent in the blue, and I did notice some in the red, but I'll take a look at that in the T-Rex review. But I just wanted to let everyone know that there might actually be a little bit of a difference in the figures between the figure packs and the Zords, but it's nothing hugely substantial. So overall, while definitely not the most fun toys in the world, for $14.99, they're really good representations of the original Dino Zords. Yeah, they're not in scale with each other or in scale to anything really, but on a shelf together, minus the unfortunate lack of pterodactyl, at least at the moment, they look really cool together. For sure, and I can definitely recommend them for that. So if you're a fan of the original Mighty Morphin Dino Zords and always have your Megazord on display but want some cool representations of the Dino Zords, I would definitely recommend checking these out regardless if you have an interest in the Imaginext line. Yeah, the Sabertooth Tiger and Mastodon have cannons now that definitely aren't accurate to the show, but if you look by that, they're fun little display pieces. Not necessarily a whole lot of fun as toys, but I absolutely sure that kids will really, really like them. They're great for the Imaginext line, and if your kid to collect Imaginext in the first place, there's a lot of sort of imaginative mix and match capabilities. You can have Oliver Queen pilot the Mastodon or something if you want. And that's a good idea for my T-Rex review. We'll do that later. So thanks for watching. Take care and have a great one. Bye.